really, if you want to do really well, you should be using them 1-2 years before. So throughout Year 11 and in Year 12. So, I've got a number on the screen behind me. Can anyone tell me what this number represents?
Or less than the answer.
No. Anyone else? Particularly those in Year 12. If you're in Year 12, you should know this number. Thank you. 41 days until the first HSC exam. If you're in Year 12, did you know this? Raise your hands. There's a couple. Excellent. Why don't you put your hand up and tell me the answer?
I don't want to acknowledge it.
Alright, okay. No worries. So, 41 days left. So, the key is there isn't exactly a lot of time, particularly if you're in Year 12. And so what we're going to try to look at today is, with not a whole lot of time, what can you actually do to make sure that you're preparing effectively for your exams and not wasting a lot of time. Okay, because let's face it, generally I find it's quite easy to waste lots and lots of time when it comes to studying. So, who am I? Some of you I have seen before, so you may know a little bit about my background. I've spent the last 7 years basically researching how the top 2% of students in Australia excelled academically. So 98 plus ATARs. I've used a lot of this research to write a book, Secrets of HSC Success Revealed. It wasn't that long ago I was actually at school myself. As you can tell, I look fairly young, comments already been made. I graduated in 04, so 6-7 years ago. Got an ATAR equivalent at the time of 99.6. Have since studied combined law at Sydney Uni. Didn't like it, which is why I'm here now. A couple of other things that I've done is, I've coached a number of students who've ranked first in the state and used to play pretty high level sports. So I'll be using a lot of sports examples today. Because I find that most people intuitively understand sport, and there's a lot of great lessons that you can use from sport and apply in your study without even realising. Do you mind maybe just coming and sitting here? That's alright. We've just got a small group and make it a little bit merrier, I think. So what is my aim? Particularly to those of you in Year 12, there isn't a lot of time. I want to leave you hopefully today with 3 to 4 really, really practical things that you can go away and actually start applying in the next 40 days. There's no point giving you lots of complex stuff, because let's face it, you just won't do it. Alright, so the aim is 4 to 5 simple things, and all of the things I'm going to be chatting about have actually been used by students, so I'm not making them up. They're not awesome sounding theories, and they actually work. And the good part is, because other students have used them, they're actually really simple to apply. Okay, and that's key, because I think to actually get results and change what you are doing, it needs to be simple. So, plan of attack. We're going to be covering a number of things today. I had written this presentation for 2 hours. We'll see how we go. My aim is to try to go for about an hour and a half and then open up to questions. So I hope, although I asked some of you at the beginning if you had any questions, you didn't have any, I really hope by the end you have lots of questions. Okay, so I want you to think about as you're going through things that I've discussed that maybe haven't elaborated on enough, and actually jot some notes down and ask them at the end of today. So we're going to be looking at review and goal setting. I'll touch upon what that means in a little bit more detail shortly. We're going to look at wall maps and prioritisation. We're going to look at how you should be using your time, a bit of a study plan for those of you that have 4 weeks left for your HSC. Looking at study, how to maximise your memory retention in a short period of time, how to use practice papers and basically practice essays to prepare effectively but also boost memory. Okay, and then finally we're going to look at what sort of final exam preparation should you be doing. So the week before, the night before, what should you be doing for an exam? And if we get any time, and I'll probably try to deal with this more in questions, look at a little bit of stress management for any of you who are feeling a little bit stressed by the onset of exams in the near future. So, a couple of guidelines that I would like everyone to hopefully stick by. Number one, I usually request questions to be held until the end, and we will have Q&A time, but because it's a smaller group, it'll actually be a lot more manageable for me to take questions as we're going through. Alright? If you do have a question and you want clarification, just pop your hand up. I may not answer it and sort of ask you a question immediately, but I will come back to you. Okay? Please just make sure all your sort of phones are off or on silent, and that reminds me, I should do the same. So please, take a moment yourselves as well. And finally, I'm not going to give you a handout. Okay? And there's a reason for that. We're going to look at that a little bit later, but there's going to be a number of fairly practical exercises that we're going going to be doing, I'm going to be asking you to write things down. Okay, so you really need to get a pen and paper or a laptop or something out in front of you now that you can actually use. Because to be honest, you won't get the most out of today's session if you don't. Alright? So, quick question. For those of you who have been who are in Year 12, hello, do you want to just grab a seat somewhere in here just so we can keep it nice and close? Thank you. For those of you that are in Year 12, but for those of you that are in Year 11 or Year 10, I want to ask you a question. Have you recently had your exams and been 100% happy with your performance? Raise your hands if you had any case of that in the last year, where you've been 100% happy with how you've run your exam. Alright, pretty typical response. Right, I think generally, there's always something that we'd like to improve with an exam performance. So, what we're going to be looking at is something really, really simple that I find no student does, and that's a review. But before I look at a review, I want to tell you a brief story about Israeli soldiers. And you're probably thinking, what does Israeli soldiers have to do with Year 10, 11 and 12? And it does have something to do quite importantly, actually. And there's a study that was done in typically the United States and was looking at the effectiveness of soldiers. And one of the things that they noticed was that a lot of the Israeli squadrons would, after a war game series, actually spend time debriefing. Okay, so they'd actually go through and evaluate what they did well, what they did poorly, and then identify strategies that they personally felt they could have implemented as an individual and then as a team to improve the outcome of their activity. Okay? Very, very simple, but it was proven that it actually resulted that these simple debriefs after a performance improved the performance in the real life situations dramatically. Okay? So, I guess the point here was that debrief after your performance is vital. Now, who here after an exam has actually sat down and thought about what they did right, what they did wrong, and where they could improve? Okay, good couple of hands. Have you written things down, or have you just thought about it? Yeah? Alright, excellent, good. So there are 2 hands, but there should be a lot more. Okay? It's a very, very simple step, but I find that a lot of students overlook this purely because there's a tendency when you don't do so well to go, ugh, and just throw it in a pile. Okay, who's done that before? Yeah. I know I've done that many times. So, can anyone tell me who this quote is by? It's a really famous one. Insanity is equals doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Does anyone know who this is by? Okay, by Albert Einstein. Alright? And the reason reviewing your performance after an exam is vital is that if you don't actually think about what you have done and how you can improve it, you're going to be taking into the next exam the exact same problems. Okay? So effectively, you're going to be doing the same thing expecting different results, and that's why we need to look at exactly what you're doing, particularly for those of you in Year 12 who didn't necessarily do as well as you would have liked in your trials, and evaluate what can you do differently. Okay? And there's a little exercise we're going to do to have a look. In terms of review, I generally find that a student's performance in an exam, if they haven't done as well, doesn't often come down to not understanding the concepts. I honestly believe that pretty much everyone is capable of understanding material if they apply themselves. So more often than not, I find that if you've done poorly in an exam, it's because of one of 3, or all 3 of these factors. Your exam preparation, so specifically what did you do? What did you do the night before an exam or morning of an exam? Okay? And then your actual exam technique. So what were you doing in the exam and how did that affect your overall marks? So what we're going to look at is we're going to break these down into a series of questions. I'm actually going to get you to do a review here and now of your last exam. So for those of you who have just come through trials, this will be particularly useful. Okay, because my plan is to basically, after we do this, hopefully you'll see 3 or 4 really simple things that you can change immediately. Alright? Which will hopefully have a big impact in your HSC exam. So, let's have a look. Exam preparation. So, some questions that you need to ask yourself, okay, when you're evaluating how you prepared for an exam, is to start with, did you do enough? Okay, more often than not, I find, you haven't done that well, probably because you didn't pick up a book until, 1-2 days before, or maybe a week before, okay? So that might be the issue. It's alright. Do you want to just come and sit in the seated area? Just because we've got a small group, it'll make it a little bit better. So, did you do enough preparation? Did you procrastinate? Were you motivated? Okay? Did you study the wrong thing? So, did you just get all sorts of different questions in the exam and you didn't really expect them. Okay? Did you do enough practice papers questions? Did you leave study too late? Can anyone else think of some other questions they could ask themselves? Because this is by no means a definitive list. So what are some of the other things you need to be thinking about when you're evaluating your preparation? I don't have to point to someone. It's a small group. Yep.
Maybe like how you study?
Yeah, okay, excellent, good. So specifically, how are you learning the material? Okay? So maybe you were reading a textbook over and over again, maybe you were writing notes. Was that effective? Okay? What else? That's one, there's lots more though. Yeah?
How do you like answer the actual questions? Like you was like stuff.
Okay, good. Although that's probably not so much about your prep. That's probably about what you did in the exam. Okay, so leave that one for a little bit later. That's a good one though. What else? It's important that you think about this because if you're not aware of what you're doing, alright, you're not going to understand and necessarily be able to create change. Alright? What about the amount of time that you spent? Did you spend an hour studying or 2 hours? How many breaks were you having? Okay? Were you doing regular study? Okay? Was your study intense, or were you daydreaming a lot, or taking a long, long time to do very little bit of work? Alright? These are the sorts of questions you need to think about. So what I'd like you to do now is actually take some time, particularly those of you in Year 12, and actually write down an evaluation of your exam preparation for your trials. Pick one subject. So maybe pick the subject that you did the worst at, or the one that you'd like to improve the most, okay? And actually write down some of the answers to these questions. How did you prepare for it, okay? And then we'll chat and I'll ask one of you to read it out, if that's all right, and we'll look at, what are some of the things that maybe you weren't doing as effectively as you could, all right? And then we can create some strategies that you can use to improve it for your next exam. So even the students who aren't in Year 12, do it for an exam that you've had in the past, okay, that you haven't done very well at. Okay, I'm sure all of you have an exam like that. Do you guys happen to have any pen or paper? No. Oh, okay, you guys.
That's alright, I can grab some.
Alright, thanks. Some fun event, okay? Either that night or the next day, either with your friends, family, whatever it may be, and then make a commitment with your friends or family that unless you actually kick in a gear those couple of days before that last exam, you won't go to that event on the Saturday or Friday. Okay? It's a really simple way to just maintain that motivation. So what else did you write down?
I did look at past papers, but I didn't do them. I just sort of looked at them and thought, oh, that's an exam.
Alright, excellent. So straight away you know obviously what to do some past papers, and we'll look at that in more detail. Anyone else want to share what were some of the reflections they had? No one else? No one feeling brave? Have to point to someone. Come on, Year 12 student. The whole point is to help you guys prepare for your HSC. So now we've got a couple over this side of the room. What was one of the things you wrote down? I don't want to have to come and have a look at your laptop, so.
For my English exam, a lot of the preparation was done beforehand, so I just kind of read over my notes.
Okay. So was that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm
Not sure?
really lazy with it. So,
Okay. Alright, so what do you think you need to do differently for your HSC exam? Okay.
And then, time management,
Alright.
doing it within like 40 minutes.
Yep.
And then finish my essay.
Okay, alright. So a simple trick there, and we'll cover it later as well, is actually taking the time to write the essay a couple of times in 40-minute time conditions at home. Alright, so nice and simple. So what I'd like you to do, I'm not going to do it now, when you go home, just expand on that list. Don't just leave it as a list of possible problems with your preparation. I want you to draw another column and actually identify what you're going to do differently. Okay, because what that effectively is giving you is a bit of a blueprint of what you need to be doing to prepare more effectively in your next exam. And it's not something that I'm telling you, which you may forget, it's something that you've thought about, okay, and that you've identified that you need to improve. So, let's keep on ripping through. The night before, morning before the exam, okay, so this can often have a big impact as well on your performance in an exam. So some of the things you need to ask yourself are, did you cram the night before? Who's done that before? Yeah, heaps of hands. Alright, did you lose sleep and stay late? Did you get stressed or struggle to fall asleep at night? So you've got into bed and just couldn't get to sleep. Okay? Did you eat breakfast in the morning? Yes, no. Did you get stressed by talking to other people? It's amazing how many times I hear that, I just did really badly. I spoke to a person and, they talked about this thing and I didn't know it. And I freaked out, okay? Did you read your notes before the exam? Did you change any of your normal habits, okay? So again, really, really quickly, and I'm going to give yourself less time this time because I'm just aware that we've got a lot to cover, a lot of time. I'd like you to quickly jot down a bit of a review of what you did the night before morning of and how you could possibly change your habits and make your study more effective. As you're doing that, I'll just continue to chat a little bit. Hopefully what you're realising, this stuff is really easy and you actually have most of the answers yourself in terms of knowing what you need to do, what you're not doing that well, and how you need to improve, alright? And the reason I'm doing this is that, being really frank with you, the reality is that you won't remember a lot of what I'm telling you today, alright? It'll go in one unit, it'll sit there for a little while, and then it'll pop out, a week or two from now, and we'll look at that later when we look at memory retention. What I'm trying to give you though is a bit of an exercise that you can do whenever, okay? After any assessment exam that you've had, and you'll therefore be able to self-diagnose, essentially, what you could do better, what you're not doing very well, and be able to get a plan of attack, essentially, to improve your marks. And that's a lot more effective, I think, than me necessarily just talking lots at you. Alright? So, do you want to share what you wrote down? You tell me one of them, even if it's not much.
I did prayer, I did breakfast, and I read my notes.
Alright, okay. So, putting something out, who else reads their notes the morning before an exam? Okay, most of you. Now, I'm going to say something that many of you will think, what's he going on about? I would recommend that you don't read your notes the morning before, okay? Being really honest, who here has found reading their notes in the morning all that incredibly helpful? There's maybe one hand, okay? And I remember I did it once when I was at school and I learned one thing and it proved to be helpful once. More often than not, I find that you're not going to really be able to learn a lot, okay, an hour before an exam. Because you're not in an ideal environment. Probably a little stress. You're surrounded by a whole bunch of other people that are cramming. And it's very much about physical preparation and preparing yourself from a positive mindset to actually go into the exam, rather than, oh, bummer, I've got to try to cram some more. Okay, so generally one of the things that I've found quite interesting from all the research I've done with top students is that I would say 95% of them did not read their notes before an exam. Okay? And there's two reasons for that. Number one, they didn't prep earlier. They didn't need to read before an exam. If you're having to read your notes before an exam, what does that tell you? Have you done adequate preparation? Probably not. Okay? So that's the first reason they never did it, because they made a point of preparing earlier. And the second reason is that most of them said, well, look, the gains that you get from memory retention are that small, that they're not worth the increased stress that often occurs because you discover that you don't actually understand something as well as you thought you did. Who's had that happen? Before an exam, they've read their notes and thought, oh, I don't really get that. Yeah. And how did you feel? Awesome or quite stressed? Yeah. And how do you think that affected your mindset in the exam? Did you go in feeling confident, or did you end up going in stressed and probably made unnecessary silly mistakes? Okay? So really simple things, again, in your own time, write down another column and identify what are the things you're going to change. Really simple, alright? And finally, exam technique. So, some questions you need to ask yourself about your performance in the exam. And again, these aren't definitive lists. These are some quick ones that I've brainstormed. You need to ask yourself probably a lot more questions. Did you run out of time? Who's had that happen? I know one person's already mentioned that. Excellent. Did you get stuck on a particular question? Did you attack the paper chronologically? Did it work for you to do it step by step? If it didn't, you've got to think about what else may work. Alright? Did you have a mind blank in the exam? Who's had that before? Yeah, of course. And we all do. Did you plan, map out your answers to essays or questions? Alright? So these are some questions you need to think about, because again, one of the things that I found very, very interesting from speaking to loads of successful students is that they all had a very, very clear idea of exactly how they were going to use their time in the exam, exactly what they were going to be doing. Many of them, and this is probably a little bit to the extreme, had timed certain questions in certain papers down to the minute. So they knew exactly how they were going to work through it. Okay? Now, I'm not necessarily recommending that, but it goes to show you that if you have a good idea of how you're going to be using your time in an exam, alright, there's going to be a much less chance of you running out of time, getting stressed, getting stuck on a question, having a mind leak because you know what you're doing, you've got a plan of attack. So, really quickly, last exam, write down some of the things that you maybe did or didn't do in relation to these questions as triggers. And then again, I'll ask a couple of you to share. While you're writing, I should say as well that one of the things that I've found is that, I know this was the case for myself personally, and I know from working with a lot of students as well, the exam should not feel any different to your study time, okay? In the sense that I find that for a lot of students, you study, you've got no pressure, so it's really easy to get everything right and to feel comfortable, and you get into a different environment, okay, and you freak out. And so the key is, if you study in certain ways, and we're going to look at it later exactly how, what you can do is minimise that feeling of difference, okay, between your exam and your study. And if you can do that, your exam technique will dramatically improve, but so will your exam preparation. Alright? So, someone else who would like to share one or two of the things they quickly jotted down. Yep, thank you.
Okay, so my time management isn't very good. I'm not too bad at it.
Yep, in exams, you mean?
In exams,
Yep,
yeah.
okay. So do you have a good idea before you go into that paper about exactly how long you should spend on each section?
Yeah. So I'm mainly talking about English paper 2 with the
Okay,
essays.
alright.
That's what I'm talking
Okay.
about.
So just let me pause on that. So an exam, who else has that problem? 3 big essays, 3 modules, 40 minutes each one, it's tough, isn't it? Alright? One of the things that you can do, and this is how exam preparation feeds into exam technique, is that really you should be prepping prior and understanding exactly how many words you can write in 5-minute increments so that you know exactly how many words you can write in 40 minutes. Okay, so you don't want to leave it to chance. Now I know you might get a different question that you'll need to adapt to, and it might mean that it takes you longer, which is why I'll recommend later actually giving yourself 15 to 20% less time when you're practicing. So practicing writing your full essay in 30 to 35 minutes. Alright, so that's one thing. What else did you find? One more.
I planned to my essays,
Mm-hmm.
and that, I found that really helpful, but then for my last one I didn't have enough time to plan for it.
Okay, so it's sort of connected.
Yeah.
Planning. Alright, excellent. So again, you've got a good idea of what you can do quite differently in terms of your exam technique. Again, please write down what you're going to do. Now, of course, the key is you actually need to do it. It's nice to write all this stuff down and feel productive and awesome, alright? But if you don't actually go home and actually start applying it, it's not going to be very helpful. So, hopefully you've now got at least 3 to 4 things you know you need to change, okay? In terms of your preparation, in terms of your morning before, night before, in terms of your exam technique. Alright? While I'm chatting, I'd like you to try to just write down what are the 2 things at a minimum you need to change. Alright? And what I'd like you to then do is very, very quickly just talk to the person next to you and tell them what one of those things are.